All right, everybody. Well, this episode of Unseen Bourbon is going to be a very special one. The movie that we're going to go see is Terminator Genisys.
Yes. I had to think for a second, too.
I just didn't want to say it. As a fan of the franchise, both of us, we definitely wanted to go see this movie. In the early stages, the teaser trailers and everything like that, we saw that the CG was just a shit show. It was terrible. It's come together a little bit. With that being said, we wanted to do a before and after. Before we get drunk and after we get drunk. Personally, I think this is going to be an absolute shit show of a film. They've just totally fucked with the whole timeline.
Yeah, they're trying to do a reboot type thing. Yeah, reboot, remake, sequel, kind of all thrown in together. I don't think they even know what they're doing. I think we're both in agreement that this is going to be
a terrible fucking movie.
Yes.
Hence the bourbon.
Hence this. So we're gonna load up on this, and we will be back in a few hours. But for you guys, it'll probably be about 5 seconds with the review of Terminator Genisys.
So, cheers. We'll be right back. Well, good evening, and welcome back to another installment of ASB Unseen Bourbon. As always, I am Peter Tobin.
And I am Brian Lawrence.
And we are back. Oh, so back. Oh, so back in the...
We're back from the future.
Well, as you know from this episode so far, you saw that we were preparing ourselves to go see, and not my words, so I want Brian to actually say it because I feel the same way. But Brian?
Terminator abortion.
Genisys series. This was, all things considered.
Yes.
I mean, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna tear this shit apart. But all things considered, I had fun with this movie. I did. I had fun.
It wasn't quite the train wreck
that we both thought
that
it was
I was
going
expecting.
To be. No, not as much of a train wreck. I definitely believe that this Terminator is better than Rise of the Machines. Arguably, you can go back and forth between Terminator Salvation and Genisys.
Yes, Genisys seems to just completely disregard Salvation entirely.
Entirely. Salvations didn't even exist.
It might as well not even exist.
Yeah, just forget that movie was even written. Christian Bale, I'm sorry, I think you did a great job. I feel that you were awesome as John Connor, but this movie just took your character and said...
Yep. So let's first just go through what the plot of this movie is. So here we are, Judgment Day has happened, Skynet has taken over, we finally, as humans, get the drop on Skynet. We're almost have been able to wipe them out, but at the last second, they're able to send back a T-800 machine to kill Sarah Connor, which of course is the plot of the first Terminator, 1984, that they send him to, and as goes along with the 1984 timeline, John Connor sends back Kyle Reese to the same time to protect Sarah Connor. Kyle Reese gets transferred in 1984. Now we suddenly have the T-1000, who's there from Terminator 2, which was supposed to be taking place in 1997, but now he is in 1984. I don't think it is ever explained why the T-1000 is there, who sent him.
The only explanation that they really give is Sarah Connor says that the timeline that you were sent back to no longer exists. That's all.
Which means they can do whatever the fuck they want and have no explanation or logic to any of it.
That was the scriptwriter's ex machina. That was the scriptwriter's way of saying, we can do whatever the fuck we want to do.
But anyway, so he gets sent back in
believe
time.
whatever we want to throw in your
Yes.
face.
So he is back in 1984. Sarah Connor rescues him, who is a badass. She now has an older T-800 that we figure out was sent back in a earlier point
in the 70s,
time,
in her childhood.
In the 70s, in her childhood, to protect her. We do not know who sent back that T-800.
And I love that there was a T-1000 that was sent back to her childhood, and he protects her by killing the T-1000. And it's like, wait.
And they sent another one back to 1984 to kill Kyle Reese.
So now there's 2 T-1000s that Cyberdyne has sent back. Yeah, I'm lost.
I felt like this could have been a little better just if more of those holes had been filled. And, like, who did send back the original T-800 to protect Sarah? Where did the T-1000 come from?
Yeah, if it was an automated response to send back the T-800, how did they notice? How are they... Oh, see, that's the thing. Like, they attack Skynet, and Skynet shuts down. So all this shit fucking shuts down when they're attacking the Cyberdyne Time Travel Central facility, and they automatically send back a T-800 before everything shuts down. But at what point do they ever have an opportunity to send back a T-1000? Like, there's just so many like paradoxes.
Oh, yeah, it had to have happened before. And what was the T-1000 doing?
In any of those timelines.
They had to send it back before the T-800, so what was the T-1000 doing?
See,
the time in between the T-800 being sent back? Was it just like hanging out waiting for the inevitable Kyle Reese to be sent back? Again, it's just, once you start to think about it, it just falls apart completely. So don't think about it if you want to enjoy the movie. And let's just say, for the purpose of entertainment, let's just go with it. Let's just go, okay, alternate timeline, everything is just thrown out the window, and let's just start this brand new thing. I guess if you try not to think about anything, it works.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I could, if you don't think, you can just go along with it and just go, okay.
The only thing
I'm with you.
That really works with this movie is if you are brand new to the whole Terminator saga. But you take all the storylines and you just fucking throw them out the window. Yeah, you can enjoy this movie. You can enjoy Genisys.
Yeah, I mean, there's the nostalgia there. A lot of some of the scenes, like almost shot for shot, line for line.
They did a pretty good job with that. They actually, I have to admit that they were able to use time travel to their benefit. I did like how they were able to move from time to time in a tasteful manner and use the transition from points in time and kind of evolve with that. I did like that. Being a fan of like Star Trek, I never really liked the whole time travel Ex Machina, platform that they had with that. So I'm not really a big fan of the time travel Ex Machina with this. So I'm kind of annoyed with that, but at the same time, they used it in a tasteful way. Not saying that it's any good, just my personal opinion. As far as, franchises go,
Terminator's always been struggling ever since James Cameron left it after T2, which is where he left it because he realized that if you go any further into this mythology, the whole storyline is going to just get gummied up really quickly, as it does with time travel movies and as it does with this movie as well.
It goes in 3 different tangents. I mean, it's all over the fucking board with its. I mean, they try to drop a couple of lines, like when Arnold before they jumped into the future, You know,
Yeah.
He tried to drop a line about quantum physics and how and the potential path that they might take. And it's just really, yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's like the writers are scrounging for plausible deniability with this whole thing. It's like, well, we said you could go this way, but it could go that way, so we went with this road.
Yep. Casting wise, we have Emil Clark as Sarah Connor from Game of Thrones, of course, as we all know.
Khaleesi.
Yes.
You will always be my Khaleesi.
Yes, she does a good job.
Great job. Honestly,
think,
like she really does.
This is a pretty Linda Hamilton made this a pretty iconic female character. And then we have Jason Clarke as
John
our hero, or the savior, John Connor.
Our protagonist / antagonist.
Protagonist turned into antagonist, which all of the trailers made very sure that we knew that. So, which completely ruined it. That actually would have been kind of a surprise.
Had they not fucked us with the adverts?
With the ads for this movie, which recent articles, the director, Alan Taylor, completely agrees with all of us about the marketing of this movie. So the entire scene in the hospital where he comes there and it's, oh my God, John, it's you. And the entire time the audience is going, nope, he's a Terminator now. We know that. So just ruined that entire build-up. Jason Isaacs, yeah, he does... okay. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good actor.
He doesn't have a lot to work with.
Yeah, exactly. He's a good actor, but you can give a good actor the shittiest script in the world, and he's not going to be great. There's only so much that good actors can do, that any actor, good or bad, can do with a shit script.
Then we have Jai Courtney as our protagonist, Kyle Reese.
And I liked him. I like Jai Courtney. Period. I think he's a good actor, and I like his charisma.
He's a good actor. He's in a lot of shit. He's okay. He does what he can, I guess, with what he's given to work with. To me, Michael Biehn is always going to be Kyle Reese to me. Yeah. From the original Terminator. He kind of embodied that kind of just like a grunt soldier who was just thrown this impossible task and had to do the best that he could.
You can't get better than that. Like, it's just, they're all imitations of the original, which we get, and there's only so much that Courtney can do with this, but he does a good job. And yes, the original gritty, grimy, dirty. I mean, he was just he grew up in just filth and poverty and I mean beyond third world countries that exist today, because this is like machines are killing anything and everything that is alive, basically. This guy embodied that, and he did such an incredible job, and Courtney did the best that he could do. And again, love him as an actor, but there's only so much that you can do with a good script. Yeah. Or there's only so much an actor can do with a script.
And finally, for roles, we kind of have a pseudo cameo, our Skynet personified as Mr. Matt Smith, who a lot of you will know as the second most recent Doctor from the Doctor Who series, beloved series by many, myself included, and I'm sure you as well.
Mate.
Small little cameo. I would have loved to see more of him just because Matt Smith is awesome. It wasn't a terrible movie.
Not a terrible movie.
It wasn't anything really
at all
memorable.
I had fun. I had fun watching this. It was fun.
It's not terrible. There's a lot of good kind of throwback and homages they show for people that are fans of the first two movies. Regardless of whether they make a lot of sense to the context of what's going on in this movie. Decent action sequences.
Yeah.
A lot of CG that I felt was unnecessary. The T-1000 and this, honestly, to me, looked no better than the T-1000 in Terminator 2. And you got the scene where Arnold, like, loses, like, all the skin on his arm. And you got the robot hand underneath, which is completely CG, which doesn't look any better, if maybe worse, than in T2, where he cuts the skin off of his arm and he rips it off, which they used a prosthetic, and then you have, like, you know, like a real prosthetic.
You had an actual
electronic robot hand. We have a completely CG'd younger Arnold for the 1984 segment.
And actually, I was kind of like, I was looking at that, and I'm like, wow, did they like go into great detail to digitally remaster the file footage that they have, or did they full on just CG?
I think it was.
Did they go
CG.
frame by frame and just CG everything?
It looked okay at times as long as he was standing still.
When he started moving,
I don't understand why they didn't do what they did with Salvation, which is use a body double. It was a bodybuilder, I forget his name, who played him in a TV movie that they made about his run for governorship, and they just CG'd a younger Arnold face onto his face for that scene in Salvation where Christian Bale and him are fighting in the Skynet factory. I don't see why they didn't just do that with this. Would have saved a lot of time and money.
Honestly, it's a fun ride.
It's fun. It's good to see Arnold back in the role that made him so iconic.
I will say this, though. In all the movies that the two of us have seen, I have never gotten up to go take a piss, no matter how much I've had to pee. I got up in the middle of this and took a piss.
This is a total meh movie. Not terrible. Nothing to write home about it.
Go see it if you want to go see it, but I'm not encouraging anybody to go see it. So, for the 14 people that actually watch our show, have fun if you want to watch it.
Have this.
Definitely have a few drinks before you go see it. But anyway, even though we may not like, or we may like, this or that movie, it's always up to you whether you like or dislike a movie. So please, leave us comments down below after you've seen the movie or before you've seen the movie and let us know what you think. Like us, hate us, love us, doesn't matter. We want to know what you think. So, this is Peter.
This is Brian.
And Scene Bourbon. Signing off.